And Mike Findlay and Danny Klecko. And next, after that, we have Maryann Corbett. Maryann earned a doctorate in medieval literature and linguistics from the University of Minnesota and expected to be teaching Beowulf and Chaucer and the history of English. Instead, she spent more than 30 years working for the Minnesota Legislature in the office of the Revisor of Statutes. Her poems, translations, essays, and reviews have been published in more than 100 journals and several anthologies. Her two books are Credo for the Checkout Line in Winter by Muse and Breath Control by David Robert Books. Please welcome Maryann Corbett.
Yes.
All right, first I have to get feedback from the sound man, who will tell me whether I can be heard. Thank you, Satish, for arranging everything, and thank you to Kimberly Nightingale for putting together the almanac. Thank you all very much for being here, and I hope I get to meet more of you before we leave this evening. The first poem I'm going to read, I'm just going to read two, is my poem from the almanac. It's on page 281. It's called A Mozart Mass with Orchestra in the Cathedral. I spent 10 years in the choir of the Cathedral of St. Paul. It's one of the big experiences of my life. I loved it deeply and wish I were still doing it. But poetry has kind of taken over. But this is the kind of experience that one could have there. In the beginning is the chaos. Singers and instruments crowded into an organ loft. The score of a second-row soprano flapping against my head. The bow of the principal violin jabbing within inches of my face. Yet, somehow, the spirit hovers over the waters. We bring the unfallen world into being by that acrobatic feat where 60 people hang on a pair of hands. Voice following voice in the fugue, like evening and morning, so that breath turns to music in the folds of the throat, and the little clown of self stops and is still. Down to the last note of the Agnus Dei, that trapeze artist pushing off from the diaphragm to sail over the nave and hang from the great Baroque dome, its triads shimmering. Its last trick, peace, setting us down again in the lapsed world, where instruments packed in cases are lugged down 5 flights, and where, as I head for my bus stop, the panhandler, who is, as promised, always with us, uncurls himself from the rectory steps and asks, in the voice of God, for my spare change.
Wow. Very nice. Beautiful.
And I'm reading it from this larger type page because last year, when I tried reading directly from the almanac page in really low, spooky coffeehouse light, without my glasses, the effect was not impressive.
Something about it.
So I do better. But from my own book, my own second book, Credo for the Checkout Line in Winter, the type's a little bigger, and I will, I think, do better reading directly from it. Notice I seize every opportunity to plug the new book, which will be officially released on September 30th. this is Minnesota, and we do have winter here. And I have an awful lot of winter poems, and this is one of them, called Express. In snow, in darkness, we wait for the 53. It plods up Marshall under the meager street lights, its tires spattering curbs with a slurry of gray. Aboard, we sink into ourselves, our papers, our thick down jacket armor against the world, the way the bus drops down the on-ramp's incline to bore down I-94. Outside, blackness. Inside, eerily bright like Hopper's Diner, hurtling along at 60 miles an hour. Everyone's eyes as private as if we wore those gray fedoras. Sleuthing, we hunt for answers, while brilliant necklace beads of westward headlight string themselves toward us, past us, in the dark. A shift of light. We're into the labyrinth where on and off ramps knit with city streets, over and under. And now, instead, we're like the crews on submarines in old war movies, cramped, quiet, sunk in the interstate's ocean, moving as if in 1,000 feet of water, weighed down by the weather forecast, 20 below, the headline that says the local guard battalion will have its tour extended, the news that life will go on as it has. At the 5th Street exit, we surface to globes and twinkles, winter carnival, set to go on in spite of everything. Now, one block at a time, stop, go, we dribble off, dispersing like the photons, kept going only by the laws of physics. Nothing here bears witness to the light, but a stain bleeding into the eastern sky. Thank you.